Welcome to the South Burbs Hitmen podcast with your hosts, Joe Mandel, Steven Zimmerman, and Vinnie Parisi. We're bringing you the White Sox coverage you need from the perspective of true Southsiders. Grab your Comiskey dog with an ice cold beer and meet us in section 155. Everyone get on your feet for your South Burbs Hitmen!
That ball hit deep. Way back. You can put it on the board. Yes. Jimenez in the air. Left field. He's your hero tonight. Thanks, Cubs.
Over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws. Out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
Alexei. Yes! 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 History! A perfect game by Mark Burley, and what an unbelievable play by Dwayne Wise.
First pitch starts now. What is going on, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of South Burbs Hitmen. I'm Joe Mandel, one of your hosts, and I'm joined, as always, by my White Sox brother-in-arms. I'm talking about Vinnie Parisi and our other brother in White Sox land, Steven Zimmerman. Couldn't be with us tonight. Got other stuff going on, but he'll be back with us next week. So, Zim, we wish you all the best, as always. But, Vinnie, how the hell are you, man?
2 weeks. Next week is Memorial Day, isn't it?
Oh, that's right. We don't have a show next week. We'll see Zim in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks without Zim. That kind of sucks for us. But, yeah, I'm good. I'm, hanging out. The Sox have been playing better lately. They lost today. It kind of sucks, but it was a bullpen day because of Mike Clevenger's injury status. But, just the weather's getting nicer. The Sox are playing a little bit better, in general. Can't really complain.
No, we can't complain. I mean, sure, can we complain about today's game, 3-0 loss? Yeah, the bats didn't show up in typical White Sox fashion after a hot weekend. Coming in cold on a Monday early evening game. The Cleveland-itis, weird 6 o'clock start or whatever it is, Eastern time. I think it's 6 o'clock. But you know what? They look good at home, which is more than we've been able to say for a hot minute, Vin. Are the White Sox back? I know it's hard to answer that question after the performance from today, but they look good against the Royals. They look good against the Guardians the weekend before. We're trending in the right direction.
We're trending in the right direction. I don't think the AL Central is all that good. And I also don't think the White Sox are back because I still think if they played a majority of their games against good teams as they did in April, they'd be down in the dumps just a little bit. But, I don't think they're as bad as the Royals. I don't think they're as bad as the A's or the Nationals or the Reds. They're like a middle-of-the-pack team, in my opinion. Their record doesn't really reflect it yet because I do think the April schedule was just too much for a team of their status to handle. But, everything people think about the Chicago Cubs, like a middling team, just like a medium-sized team, that's kind of what the White Sox are. And I do think their record will reflect it by the end of the year. I'm sure there's another hot spurt coming. I'm sure there's another cold spurt coming. Tough loss against the Guardians with a bullpen day. But, you go in with Dylan Cease tomorrow. You like your chances whenever he's on the mound. Hasn't been quite as dominant as he was last year, but he's still like an upper tier level pitcher, even the way he's gone most of this year. So, I'm in on this team because I do think there are some fun aspects. Donnie says bring back football already. The conference finals in hockey, every single game has gone to overtime so far. So watch hockey too. In both series, every game has gone to overtime.
The Knights are really good, man.
Yeah, the Knights are they're fun to watch too. They're so deep.
They are.
They are a true treat in the sports world. But as far as baseball goes, Luis Roberts playing at an MVP level. Right? He's on pace for a 9-WAR season, and me and you both wanted him traded a month ago.
I wanted him cut. I'm a moron.
23 years ago, or 23 days ago today was the day where he ran slowly to first base.
Yeah, feels like it.
Yeah. So I just love my hat. It's your other son, Joey, does desserts. Currently on hiatus. Joey did desserts.
Now he does the pizzas.
Yeah, the pizza. But yeah, I don't know. I just think the White Sox they got fun stuff. PZ points out that accurately that Andrew Benintendi and Tim Anderson have a combined 0 home runs. That's not good. And I don't think it's not off. It's not terrible that that's the case. It's not the detriment of the White Sox. It's not the reason they've had the season that they've had. But guys need to hit a home run every now and again. Even if you end the season, if you end the season with like 8 to 10 home runs on average, which is what Tim Anderson and Andrew Benintendi typically do, you still should have like 2 or 3 by now. And it helps the confidence to just blast one out of the park every now and then.
Or you could say that, hey, or you could look at it this way. It's like, hey, Tim Anderson and Andrew Benintendi have the same amount of home runs as Jose Abreu.
Yes. And you know what's funny? If Jose Abreu stayed, they probably would be 1, 2, 3 in the lineup. And that's
0 home runs.
0 home runs between the 3 of them. So obviously it's probably a good thing that that's not the case. But I do think TA and Benintendi will break out of it probably soon. Tim Anderson has been a tad bit more of a home run hitter in his career than Benny Buttcheeks. But, I think Tim Anderson is he's not far behind Ray Durham for the most home runs to lead off a baseball game in White Sox history. So, hopefully he gets back to the power surge just a tad. He hit the biggest home run of the entire rebuild, the walk-off home run at the Field of Dreams.
I have it framed on my wall. Yes.
We all will never forget that moment. But, yeah, I don't know. I really can't explain why the power surge went away from those two, but 1 and 2 in the lineup, you'd like to have a home run every now and again.
That's right. And you got the bobble hands on this.
Mm-hmm. Does the head not move?
No, the head does. The head moves too, but the bobble hands was something I didn't realize until I got it.
That's funny. That is funny. That would have been real extra funny if they truly committed to the bobble hands and didn't even make the head bobble. Joe, I have a secret. I got one of those. I didn't go to the game, but I got it. It's not in my possession yet, but I'll shout out my friend Taryn. She got me one, so I have that coming my way.
Shout out to Taryn. I didn't go to that game either. And shout out to Gabe for hooking me up.
Oh, Gabe.
Wait, listen to this. Hang on.
That's outstanding.
Gotta love it. It's fantastic.
That is outstanding. Hi, Mom.
And there's 4 different ways he says it. Yeah, I know.
That's hilarious. I love it. Eloy Jimenez is such a treat. Literally, hi from Mom. Imagine that.
PZ's getting a kick out of my bobblehead collection. I always got one to grab off of the shelf, There's
I don't have any. There. The only one I have in this room right now, I have a Devils one that I got from the game I went to back in December, but it's not in arm's reach, so I'm not even going to bother.
There you go.
But it's a cool one. It's a cool one.
Are you going to Dylan Cease bobblehead night in August?
Yes, actually.
You're going to?
Yes.
So am I.
Yes.
I'm going with my wife.
Oh, perfect. August, what?
26 or something, maybe?
Something like 23rd. That. I will. Hell yeah, you're going to be there?
Yep.
That's outstanding.
That's the only other game I'm going to.
I'm not going because of the bobblehead. It's a family friends tailgate that I went to last year, and it just happens to be Dylan Cease bobblehead.
Oh wait, that's that tailgate you guys got hammered at last year, wasn't
it? Yeah.
I don't forget these things, Vin. I know. Yeah. I remember.
Yeah. I'm trying to. There was a giveaway for that game too, but I cannot for the life of me remember what it was.
Wasn't it a Hawaiian shirt? Maybe? No.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember. It was something. It was something cool. But yeah, I can't wait. The White Sox, they always hit home runs on the giveaways. I kind of wish they'd spend a little bit more of that money that they spend on bobbleheads on a sick player. But
well, let's be honest. The sponsors are thanks, Wintrust.
Yeah, Wintrust is giving you the Hi Mom Eloy bobblehead. Coca-Cola's paying for this bobblehead.
I think Coca-Cola is the Dylan Cease one, I'm pretty sure.
Perfect. That's what I like to hear. Last year they had my favorite bobblehead of all time. I have that
Which one?
in Elgin. It was the one. It was a gimmick, or it was a remake of the play from the 2020 shortened season when Eloy and you got it there. Of course you do. When Eloy and Robert almost ran into each other, and Robert was pissed. Yep, or Eloy was pissed. Yep,
Yeah,
yep. That's awesome. NBC Sports Chicago paid for that one.
that's right.
It's great stuff. Great stuff. I like the White Sox bobbleheads. If there's no other reason to cheer the team on than to get a bobblehead, like what else?
I'm looking like there is one here that I have that's not sponsored. We're just gonna go off the rails. Why not? Before we get into it,
Yeah, of course.
but the Lance Lynn is just White Sox.
Hell yeah. Lance. I love Lance. I wanted to win with him so bad. I think I've said it on every show since it was apparent they were a stinky team.
Yeah.
I wanted the White Sox to win with Lance. There are two players that I like just because of the human beings that they are. I wanted them to win with so bad. Lance Lynn, of course, and Liam Hendricks. Man, I wanted to win with those guys so bad.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's a great segue because this guy's coming back soon, Vinny.
Let's go.
Pedro said
go.
his return was the word imminent used? I forget.
Yep.
Imminent, right? Yeah. So I'm ready. I'm ready to see the South Slider back, regardless of the situation. He's the best story in sports. The dude is a machine. He's just not human. And props to him, man, for everything he's been through, regardless of how he performs on the field. Props to Liam. Can't wait to see him on the mound. And the bullpen got a big shot in the arm this week too, Vin, with the return of Garrett Crochet. Gave up a run today, but I'd say he's looked better than advertised, at least for me.
Yeah, I didn't expect Garrett Crochet to give up 0 runs in his first couple appearances. It's obviously, a long road back, and the Cleveland lineup has some good players in it. So runs are going to be scored, obviously, especially when you're kind of pitching from, a no offense type of game. Those things are going to happen. But I love that Garrett Crochet has been in the upper 90s. We really haven't seen that. We really haven't seen him like 98 or higher since 2020 when they kind of brought him in on a whim. Remember the short 2020 season? There were no minor leagues.
Yeah.
And like
they
he would have
brought him up.
Yeah.
He didn't even play in the minors at all.
Yeah. His options were either the taxi squad at the Schaumburg Boomer Stadium or like play with the White Sox. And they freaking brought him up to the White Sox. He made like one start with Tennessee that year because COVID canceled the NCAA baseball season.
Yeah.
And then, he comes to the White Sox and he's throwing gas and he's actually like an effective reliever. And, here we are all these years later, Tommy John, arms fixed. He probably should have got the Tommy John after that COVID short season because you might remember he left the playoff game against Liam Hendricks' A's with elbow tightness. And it's like, well, there goes Garrett Crochet for a year. And then he didn't go away. He pitched in all of 2021 and he was good. But I still think there's another level that Garrett Crochet can get to. And now that his little issues fixed in his elbow, hopefully he's here to stay for a while.
I hope so. And it's just so funny that his first start in AAA was after he's been in the majors. It just like blows my mind.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? At least he got to wear the cool version of the Charlotte Knights gear. Not that I hated their old stuff.
No, but their new outfits their new uniforms are sick.
Yeah, like I just love like the North Carolina colors. Same colors as the Panthers and North Carolina and Duke and all the other teams that play in that local area. So I'm happy for Garrett. He's back. That leg kick, the naughty fella as we call him on Twitter. He could throw gas, and I think that's obviously something that's going to always be in his arsenal. Oh, look at that gear for the Charlotte Knights. Those listening on the Apple version, Google yourself the Charlotte Knights gear. Really, really cool with the new colors. But as far as Crochet, when you throw that hard, you can work your junk off of it. And he always had like the makeup of a guy who could throw really hard because he's got the big long legs. He has the leg kick, which, that's just part of his delivery. That's not the reason he throws hard, but you could see why he's able to throw so hard when he does the leg kick because he's got such like long legs and such a long arm and a thin build. Super strong kid. So I'm happy for Garrett Crochet. I'm glad he's healthy. And the Tommy John, it's a different surgery than it was even 5 years ago. It's especially different than it was 10, 15 years ago. I remember when Strasburg got it, Steven Strasburg, Washington Nationals. People were like worried that he was done or like never going to be the same again. And he was kind of like the first example of a guy coming back and being, at least of the modern era, one of the first examples of like a guy going through Tommy John and then coming back equally as strong as he was before, if not better. So Garrett Crochet seems to be on that path.
And it can be done. And I think it's a lot to look forward to with Garrett. I think I have high hopes. I know we all do. And plus, we just hope good things for Garrett Crochet. I mean, it's exciting stuff. But there's another guy that we have high hopes for that is a friend of the program and just absolutely raking it up at the major league level right now. Finn, it's friend of the show, Jake Burger. I mean, this guy just continues to get it done.
I'm honestly stunned that he didn't make the major league roster out of spring training. It just feels like negligence. It feels like stupidity. It feels like bad evaluation all around, because every time he's there, he seems to make an impact. And not really much from him the last 2 games. But, nobody gets a hit every single game. Nobody hits a home run every single game. Nobody hits a home run every single week. So, Jake Burger has just been absolutely unbelievably nasty all season long. And if you leave something over the middle of the plate and he recognizes the speed of it out of the pitcher's hand, he's hitting it to Pluto. But what makes him dangerous, I think, is like this video we just showed. There could be something low and away, and he has the ability to go out and get it and drive it opposite field, especially if there's runners on base and he maybe has 2 strikes or something like that. His just ability to make an impact with the bat is not unlike anyone on the team, but upper echelon of any player on the team. I mean, who's up there in terms of ability with Jake Burger? Yohan Moncada, Luis Robert, Tim Anderson, Gavin Sheets against right-handed pitching.
But sheer slugging and power, I mean,
yeah,
you got
Robert.
Gavin Sheets on the team and Robert. That's it.
Yeah, sometimes Eloy when he's healthy.
Eloy when he's healthy, correct.
Yes. But, I mean, I completely agree with you. He just has such an ability to, use the bat to his advantage, and, maybe the eye pitch, maybe that's helping him, go through cadences a little bit better and adjust to major league pitching, which is obviously important. But I like what I've seen from Jake so far this season.
Yeah, me too, man. And little side note, my wife and I went to the game on Friday, and we got to meet Ashlyn and Brooks.
Yay!
Brooks, of course, is their son, who's adorable, 6-month-old. If you've seen the pictures on Instagram or Twitter, he's a million times more adorable in person. And that says a lot. They were so nice, and we can't help but I really appreciate the relationship we have with them. Looking forward to having they. And by the way, spoiler alert for our listeners, she said that they want to come back on again. So we're hoping around the All-Star break. Well, that's if he's not on the All-Star team by then with the way he's performing right now. He's 3rd on the team in RBI, and he hasn't been with the team the whole year. So, well,
I would say. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I can't believe who leads the team in RBI right now, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Is who lead the team in RBI and Andy Vaughn?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
Andrew
surprised
Vaughn,
by that.
It's surprising, but also like he's in the middle of the lineup. Like he's probably got the most opportunity. It is surprising though, because he's kind of not underperformed. I'll say he's underperformed to what I thought he would be by year 3. Absolutely. So that is a little bit.
Buddy, yeah. No, go with your thought though.
I think Jake has the second best chance of being an All-Star out of anybody on the team. So if they take 2 White Sox position players, I could see, Jake being one of the 2. I think Luis Robert Jr. probably deserves to start. He'd have to win a vote
derby during our show, right? It's on a Monday, right?
Usually? Yeah. So, maybe we'll readjust that so we can watch the home run derby. But maybe
Maybe
even
Jake
do
will
it
be in the
earlier.
Derby.
Yeah, exactly.
He should be.
Luis Robert Jr. would have to win a vote over Trout to be the center fielder on the starting lineup, which I don't know if that's possible or likely. But, I do think he'll make the team, and then it comes down to if any other White Sox players make it. Jake Burger definitely should. His name should be in the hat for sure.
For sure. And Jake Berger, about 85 less at bats than Andrew Vaughn, but he has 5 more home runs.
Yeah, Jake Burger. Was he on
Rake
pace
Burger.
for 25, 30 home runs?
I think he's on pace for 33 home runs. I saw that tweet somewhere the other day.
That's outstanding. I would love to see him keep it up. I've always kind of even he's a friend of the program, and I love Jake and I love Ashlyn. They're great. You did always kind of wonder, though, is this going to taper off a little bit? Is he going to stop hitting, 2, 3 home runs a week? And it just really hasn't so far. Even last year and the year before, he's just been a model of consistency. And now I'm fully in on him hitting 30 home runs. There's no reason he can't. Luis Robert Jr. already tied a career high in home runs, and it's May 22nd. He'll break. Andy Vaughn led the team last year with 17. We could have a 17 home run hitter by mid-June. So, just a tad bit different in terms of the power this year.
I love to see that.
Leads to some more wins, though. I love to see it too.
I mean, I sure hope it leads to some more wins. That's for sure. Us White Sox fans could definitely use it. And regardless of performance, even if we can get some wins and some excitement, it's a win across the board. And I want to give another quick shout out to Ashlyn and Jake. There's a local fundraiser in the area that I'm in. It's in Berrien County, Michigan. And there's a Berrien County Youth Fair that we raise money for the fair with a silent auction here early in June. And they were kind enough to send an autographed baseball, which I put up inside this little case with a card that's going to go into the silent auction. So props to Jake and Ashton for getting that out to us. It's really cool. Hopefully someone bids on it. I'm donating the item, but I'm not going to lie. I'm going to have a bid on it myself. And
Outstanding. I mean, if you get a bid on it and the money goes to a great cause, hey, that's sick. That's really cool. I'm, happy that Ashlyn was able to help you out with that. I mean, it just goes to show the kind of people they are, that they reach out and, do these kinds of things. So as great of a baseball player Jake is, he's an even better person, and so is his family.
Absolutely, man. No doubt about it. So keep on raking, Jake. That's all I got to say.
Absolutely.
But how about our buddy, the manager, Vin? Much better week. And I guess we can dive a little deeper into it in this week's Pedro's Pen. So, Vin, what do you think about Pedro this week?
I'm still indifferent on Pedro. First-year manager in baseball, not even just with the White Sox. Nothing terrible. The bullpen management has been better. I do think the bullpen management being a tad bit better does, kind of coincide with Ruiz and Diekman not being there anymore. Getting Garrett Crochet back, Middleton has played well. Santos has played well. Bummer has been mostly brutal this season, but even in his last couple games, hasn't been too damaging. I've enjoyed Joe Kelly's performance for most of this season so far. So, every manager will look good with their bullpen if the guys live up to, what they need to do. So, I do think it's kind of a double-edged sword with, Rick Hahn's bullpen being terrible and Pedro Grifol not putting them in the best position to win. But it's been a little bit of a flipped script in the last couple days. Flippity flip. So that's where I stand on Pedro. The starting lineups have been a little better. I hated 7, 8, 9 a couple of these games. I don't really I thought their lineup on Sunday was a disgrace, and I know they won the game and completed the sweep, but no thanks to the lineup that Pedro Grifol put out. I don't know what this Sunday lineup crap is still doing in our organization, because no, you give a rest lineup when you think you need a rest lineup. You needed to sweep the Royals. You're lucky you did. Otherwise, there would have been a piece from me and many others criticizing them for putting out a Sunday lineup when they had a chance to sweep one of the worst teams in MLB history. So, I think that was a little bit of luck that they won the game. Obviously, big home run from Luis Robert, clutch performance from Romy Gonzalez to
Yeah, 3
get
for
them the
3.
lead there. Yeah, good game for him. So, I don't know. I think Pedro, he's got his work cut out for him for the rest of this season. I told you last week, and I still stand by it, even though they've played better. I don't live and die with every win or loss. I'm not mad that they lost today. I'm not overly excited that they swept the Royals. I'm happy. I like
Yeah,
making put on your Sox videos better more than when they win. But like,
agreed.
it's more fun to come on here and talk about positive vibes. But at 19 and 30, I can't sit here and get overly excited about anything. I just need to see more. I can
We
address
got to
P's.
go on a solid 8-game winning streak. Then I'll feel better.
Yeah, 100%. And the 2019 Washington Nationals were 19 and 29 too. Okay, well they won game 40 too, and the White Sox lost it. So, or no, not 40. What's today? 19 and game 39. So we'll see what happens. I do take happiness. The White Sox caught the Cubs. They have one less win than the Cubs now. So let's get ahead of them, and then we'll start, maybe thinking of some other things as we move along. But PZ says, do you think Pedro could switch up the batting order and try and generate more offense, let some hitters see different pitches? I get a lot of people are like upset that Jake Berger bats low in the lineup almost every
Eighth,
game. Yeah.
8th. I was pissed. I tweeted out something about that. Yeah.
I have one major pro on him batting eighth, and I have one major con with him hitting eighth. Obviously, the con is he gets one less at bat a game. Typically, the way math works, if every team gets anywhere from 5 to 8 hits a game or less, your 6, 7, 8, and 9 hitters are going to get fewer at bats than the 1 through 5 guys. There's a reason your 1 through 5 guys are known as your best hitters all the time. And that's because they get one extra at bat against, the later stages of a team's bullpen, especially in the third game of a series. But then the pro is that Jake Berger's been absolutely raking in these low end slots of a starting lineup. And you wonder if he's maybe just, I don't know about disrespected, or if he's getting better stuff to hit in the lower end of the lineup. So I don't know. If he's batting third and he's got Benny Buttcheeks and Tim Anderson on base, is he hitting home runs as frequently as he does lower in the lineup? I think he can, personally, and I would love to see him get the shot. But, there are definitely pros and cons to both sides. That's my assumption what Grifol would tell you if you asked him that question.
Yeah, and I was just going to say I was annoyed with Jake batting low, but that's a good point. Maybe Pedro's letting him get comfortable, and then he's going to move him back up, which he did. So I have to sneeze. So take it away, Vinnie.
Bless you while Joe sneezes. Achoo. But the lineups in general, do you want him to lower Tim Anderson? Do you want him to lower Benny Buttcheeks?
They should lower Tim Anderson.
Yeah, let him get back.
I think it's a hot take, but lower him, let him get comfortable, and bring him back up.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I think, people forget about. If you switch it up a little bit, that doesn't mean you can't go back. If Tim Anderson gets healthy and he's clearly mashing, and it's like he's the Tim Anderson of old again, you can put him right back up at the top. Luis Robert was put down while he was stinking. Now that he's back to looking like MVP Robert like he did in 2021 and 2020, he's right back in the slot he deserves to be in, and he hasn't missed a beat. So I would love to see Tim Anderson bat 8th or 9th and, let him get back to what we know he can do. If you're the 9th hitter, you're also the second leadoff hitter. So, I've been told that before, that managers look at it that way. And, if you're batting second leadoff, it's still similar. Like, you're still in a spot where, okay, Tim Anderson's on base. Now the leadoff guy's coming up to bat with Anderson on base. Can they do a hit and run? Maybe there's a little bit of power there. I would love to see Benintendi and Anderson hit 8th and 9th. Hey, bat Luis Roberts 2nd. Put who would bat first then? I mean, there are a couple options. You could put Romy Gonzalez first. You can put Elvis Andrews first, even though they've both kind of been when they're
I'll give
healthy.
you
Go ahead.
I'll give you a hot take.
You're gonna say Berg, the Bergman,
No, I'm not. And
Andy.
people are gonna hate on me for this. No, fucking Yohan Moncada.
Oh, I don't hate that.
Lead off with Moncada.
I don't hate that one bit. I think that's a good
I know
idea.
that takes away some RBI potential, but he gets on base. He's getting on base. He's smart. He's been okay. Correction.
Fast.
He's been smarter on the pads, and he's fast.
Yeah, I don't think that's a dumb take at all. He's not like a power guy. I don't know. Yohan Moncada is the most interesting baseball player I've ever laid my eyes on. I still stand by that. I honestly could see a whole lifetime going
It's
by
polarizing.
Yeah, I honestly think I could see a whole lifetime pass me by and not come across a player that makes me think the things that Yohan Moncada makes me think. Because when I watch him, if you forget everything you know, remember when there was the lockout and they put those blank faces next to everybody's name on the website? If you attach that guy to that blank face to Yohan Moncada, you would think he's Mike Trout or Ohtani out there. You just would, based on the tools, the physical tools that he has. He's a specimen. And he doesn't look all that big on TV. You go to Guaranteed Rate Field, you walk close to the dugout, you see how big Yohan Moncada actually is.
I saw it on Friday, dude.
Yeah. And then you look at the numbers and you're like, what is this? There are games where he goes 3 for 3 and he's like the most impactful looking star you've ever seen. But when he's has that 0 for 4, it's like a golden sombrero every time. And every third strike, he either watches go right down the you know what, and strike 3, you're out, or he swings with the most lazy looking swing of all time.
Or Vinnie tries to stretch a double into a triple and gets thrown out at third base.
Yeah,
three times a year. Yeah.
Yeah. And but Joe, what happens when he hits the triple? When he actually succeeds with the triple, he beats it by 10 feet. He's one of the few people I've ever seen, and Jake Berger was just added to this list, not the guy I ever thought would make this list, of people who hit a triple at Guaranteed Rate Field.
He was his wheels were burning, man.
Berger?
Yeah.
Yeah. To hit a triple, I think it's got to be a top 3 hardest park to hit a triple, just because the dimensions are even all around. There's no alley at Guaranteed Rate Field. It's just all... It's like the most people from out of town call it a generic ballpark. That's because it is. It's got great food and it's visually pretty, in my opinion. I enjoy the sights of Guaranteed Rate Field, but it is a generic MLB The Show creative field. It's 310, 400, 310. Like it is just, it's not Wrigley where like there's different dimensions in left field and right field, or like San Francisco where they have the alley or the short porch in New York, but left field is long as hell in New York. Yeah, Minute Maid, Detroit, huge. Guaranteed Rate Field is where triples go to die. And freaking Moncada, there are times where he does it like nothing. And then, like you said, there are times when he tries to extend a double into a triple, that's just dumb bonehead.
Base running, yeah.
Yeah. It's not for a lack of ability by any means. So I agree with PZ. Moncada is an enigma.
He is. And... there are some enigmas on this team, performance-based enigmas. You can go on the positive end and you can go on the negative side. And when we're talking negative, we're talking about the Adam Dud of the week.
You suck!
You suck.
Stupid. Lousy. No excuse.
What a dud. What a total dud.
Yeah. So there were some interesting performances this week on the negative side and the positive. Curious if the same guy continues to pop up on my list week after week. Zim. I called you Zim. Man, he's not even here, and I'm calling after him.
Yeah.
But Tim Anderson just is not getting it done for me, man. Let's see what he did. He went 5 for 23, batted .217, 4 strikeouts, only 5 total bases, 1 RBI, 1 run scored. I mean, Tim Anderson, that's not Tim Anderson numbers.
No, not at all. And I think it's like we talked about with the last segment. I think you switch him up in the lineup because we know Tim Anderson's an impact player. I think he's better defensively than people give him credit for. You can't use errors as a stat for shortstop. I'm sorry. Errors is like batting average. It's just an outdated statistic that doesn't tell the whole story. And I know people don't want to hear that, and they're going to get all pissed at me for saying it. But if you're a shortstop and you have good range, you're going to be credited with errors on plays you probably should have never even touched the baseball on in the first place. So errors are just like Javier Baez is an elite defensive shortstop. He always leads his team in errors every year, just because he has such great range that every now and then he's going to approach a ball that nobody else would ever even come close to getting, and then he'll throw it away, and then they'll charge him in air. Like it's a dumb stat. So, I don't think TA is 100%. It's hard for me to think he is.
Yeah, he's not.
But he wants to play, which credit to him. He missed all of the end of last year. But he's definitely deserving of the dud. So I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, he's not 100%. I'd say he's barely over 50. He looks like he's maybe swinging 60, 65% right now. And I don't know what's bugging him. They haven't really alluded to it. I don't know if it's his knee, if it's his shoulder. Something's off with his batting, and maybe it's his shoulder. But nonetheless, dud for me. But who's a dud for you?
Yeah, and another note, TA was playing really well before his injury. So I do think the Alberto thing where he hurt himself with Anderson is just definitely caused some issues. But my dud of the week is Reynaldo Lopez. Just not good stuff. And, there are moments where he's like really good. And last year I thought he was excellent as like a long reliever, kind of took over that Kopech, multi-inning bullpen guy. But, credited with a loss against Kansas City last week, like just not in the series they swept, the one before that where they lost 3 or 4. I need more from Reynaldo Lopez, and I think it's fair to criticize him in the way he's pitched this season. There are people calling for him to not even be on the roster right now. And, when I was ripping off all the people in the bullpen that were playing well, he was a notable omission from that conversation. So, we'll see what happens with him, but he certainly hasn't pitched all that well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just pulled up the stats, and I guess there was no one that was really awful the last week pitching-wise. How many runs do you think this team has given up in the last 7 days?
In the last 7 days? Yeah. So, yeah, I was struggling too when I had to look up somebody who just kind of was a dud. No one, they won a bunch of games. So, pitching-wise, thinking back to the games they lost, the game they lost to the Guardians, Cease started, and he didn't look terrible.
Mm-hmm.
He actually looked good. They just couldn't score in that game. So, Cease wasn't an issue. Giolito gave up 3 to the Astros in the first inning and then didn't relinquish another run the rest of the game. So he was good. I'm going to say in the last 7 days, they've probably given up like anywhere from 12 to 15 runs, which wouldn't be all that bad at all.
Over the last 7 days, the White Sox have given up 9 earned runs.
Wow. Even less than I thought, because 12 or 15 would be like a good number. That's just about 2 a game. So they're less than that.
The team ERA over the last 7 days is 1.50.
Yeah, that's a Cy Young winner if it was like one person.
So that's impressive. Very impressive.
100%.
And I just, wow. But if you have to go to the duds, it's like, sure, you got the offensive side of the ball. If you had to be picky, you go Reynaldo. Sebi's still not getting it done behind the plate for me. On a solid. What do you do? Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the full season stats. Give me 1 second. I looked at
those aren't great either.
No. Sebi went 2 for 10.
Yeah. Not all that great. Not impactful enough for me.
And then you got, Adam Hazley, who only got 4 at-bats again. He's 0 for 4. I'm waiting for them to send him down.
Yeah, Adam Hazley doesn't deserve to be on the team, but they won a game because of him. One of their 19 wins is specifically because of Adam Hazley.
That's right.
So,
And Clint Frazier got called up for some reason.
do you know I'm pretty sure, I don't know this to be true, like for a fact, but I'm pretty sure Clint Frazier is the player from the Yankees that caused Michael Kopech and Brielle to break up. I'm
No.
almost positive. I'm like 99% sure. When I saw that they called up Clint Frazier, I was like, and then the day before Michael Kopech went 8 strong and only gave up 1 hit, I was like, is he just pissed off?
It was an
Because he knows
amazing
Clint
game, by the way.
Frazier's coming. Like, he's going to be mentioned by next segment. Probably shouldn't have mentioned that, but like, I was like stunned that they called up Clint Frazier. I was like, okay, well, maybe they like bygones be by. I don't know. Maybe there's more to the story. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive it was Clint Frazier that did that. He like hopped in Brielle's DMs or something like that. I don't remember the whole story.
My God, I can't make this stuff up.
The White Sox, man, Chicago White Sox.
Well, you can certainly. We don't have to make up players that had good performances. And this week's Put It on the Board Player of the Week. There's quite a few to pick from. I'm going to make it easy on myself and go with my pick-to-click winner. I'm going to ride the Jake Burger train. He had a solid week, man. He went 9 for 22, batting .409, 2 runs scored, 7 RBI, 2 homers, including 1 triple, just absolutely ripping it around the base paths. So Jake Burger just lighting up. And we talked about it on the show last week. He hits great at home. So he did not disappoint for me this week, Finn.
No, absolutely not. He's been absolutely unbelievable. I mean, there's nothing else to say. We talk about Jake Burger every week at like length. Yeah, he's our favorite player. He's a friend of the program. He's, a highly thought of acquaintance. But he also just mashes baseballs. And, I've had no problem when Jake Burger was struggling to play defense last year. We had no problem saying it. Well, when we compliment him too, it has to be taken seriously because we talk about what's true. And what's true is Jake has been magnificent and he's been good defensively. I thought he's just an all around really damn good baseball player. And the OPS being in like the MVP, type stuff. He hasn't played enough games yet for people to really be taking that note seriously. But like he'll get some recognition this year if he continues to hit the way he has from the time he got called up to right now.
Dude rakes, and he's getting the opportunity, and I love to see it. So
let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Moncada back to second, Burger at third full time, yay or nay?
Yay.
Why not, right?
Because you get both
19 and 30. What do you got to lose?
You get Jake playing the field, who I will say has been much improved on the base, in the field. He talked about it on the show with us. I say yay. Then you let Elvis come in, can spell at second.
DFA him. Sorry.
Trade him. Or stick him in the outfield.
Yeah, I mean,
Put him in right field. Here you go, Elvis.
I wrote about this. Elvis wouldn't be on the roster to start June if it were up to me. Just because, like, listen, I loved the Elvis signing when it first happened. I was thrilled. But the fact that it thrilled me and all of White Sox fans tells you exactly everything that's the problem with the organization. Like, they could have had so many better options, but we're forced to be thrilled about 36-year-old Elvis Andrus signing, in March. Like, there's a reason we got to March or maybe it was February, like late February. The World Baseball Classic was certainly going on when Elvis Andrus signed. And I'm like, really? Like, we're super thrilled about this. There's a reason the other 29 teams didn't want anything to do with them leading up to the World Baseball Classic. And here's the White Sox. We got our second baseman.
You know what his batting average is right now, Vin?
I could probably bench more.
Probably.
What is it?
It's 200.
Yeah, I could bench 200. 1 rep. I could do
Come
1
on, dude,
rep.
you can
at
get
200.
2. You can get
Yeah,
2.
no, I probably could. I probably could do 5. Shit, I know how to push myself to the max. I could do a set of 200, 100%. The bar is what, 40? The bar is 40, and
Yeah,
then I
the
put
bar
I
is
put
40.
I put 2 plates, which are 40 on each side, or is a plate 40? I think. So that would be
Well,
1 whatever, and
depends what
then
kind of plate you put on.
the big guy, the biggest plate at the gym. That's what I always just referred to as the plate. I'm pretty sure those are 40 or 50. And the bar is
I think
what?
they're
What did I say
50.
the bar was?
The
Is the
bar is
bar 80?
40.
Oh, it's 40? I said that. I don't remember. I could do that for sure. A plate and a half? Sign me up. I'm going to do it. I'm going to bench next time I'm there. I'm benching 200. And I'm going to record it and say, see, I could bench Elvis Andrews' batting average. Isn't that
Yeah.
the Mendoza line? Yes.
I mean, you might as well develop Lennon Sosa. You're not getting him enough at bats, bringing him up and down and up and down. Just let him ride it out.
Lenny Sosa, as of right now, is the ultimate quadruple A player. Because when he goes to the Charlotte Knights, he like
He
destroys the
rakes.
ball. So
And
like
he
that
comes back
does
up
tell
and he
me though.
hits.
Does that not tell you though that eventually it'll click at this level? Right?
It's gonna click. It's gonna click.
Like I don't know. I don't know if I'm out on Lenny Sosa yet though. I'd rather watch him or Romy play second than Andrews though. I do mean that because they're 19 and 30. Elvis Andrews isn't the answer. And when you're 19 and 30, you can let guys who have a higher ceiling see what you have in them. And that's how I feel about
Yeah.
Sosa.
Let me change the subject with something for a second that just came to my mind, and I got to get your thoughts on it. What are guys like Adam Hazley and Clint Frazier doing up, but then a guy like Oscar Colas is still sitting in the minors? What does that tell you?
That Rick Hahn, Kenny Williams, and Jerry Reinsdorf have no absolute clue what they're doing anymore, if they ever did.
At least Colas has got a rocket of an arm in the outfield, and when he does hit, he can rake. These other guys, I just don't understand. I don't understand what. Maybe there's something we don't know going on with Colas, but I mean, I'm just playing in AAA. I haven't seen anything otherwise, right?
No, he's playing in AAA. There's a highlight from him, I feel like, every day. So, this isn't a Yermin Mercedes situation where, like, he was the 29th prospect, had a good spring, had a good start, and then started to suck. This is Oscar Colas. He was the number 2 international free agent signing in his class, and he was the number 1 prospect, top 100 guy of an organization. And, now you're messing with him. And PZ points it out flawlessly. The development is non-existent. Who have they truly developed into a superstar? Because Dylan Cease, I think like Dylan Cease would have been sick on the Cubs. I know the Cubs can't develop pitching, but I think Dylan Cease is a different animal. Dylan Cease is just wildly talented, and his stuff was always going to trump any issues that he had.
I can't think of anybody except for Chris Sale.
And okay, Luis Robert. I don't think they needed. I think Luis Robert. It's his pure ability.
But
Tim
have they
Anderson,
developed him at all? He still swings at everything in the dirt. They haven't developed him.
Yeah, because you're right. Luis Robert has another gear he could get to likely. Because if he stopped doing that, maybe he'd have 20 home runs by now. So I do agree with you. Chris Sale is a really good example, but again, first round pick. But Chris Sale was wildly skinny, and he was a reliever, so they did need to develop him into a starter. That's a good call.
That's all Don Cooper, though.
Yeah, they developed Tim Anderson. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
Tim Anderson was a string bean kid out of college that liked basketball more, and now he's a superstar shortstop, like All-Star game 3 years, All-Star game starter. Don't let how his start to the season impact your feelings on him, people. Tim Anderson is an elite player. Moncada's development wasn't what we thought. Eloy's development hasn't been what we thought, and this is all like to be determined. There's still more that could come, but
you could argue Jake Berger.
And you know what? Jake Berger, to me, deserves the most credit for his development because he was down bad with the 2 injuries back-to-back years.
2 Achilles tears, man.
In different legs.
Yeah.
Like, he could have just said, you know what, I made enough money from being drafted. I'll go work for, the SEC network covering baseball. Like he could have taken that. I see. I don't know if PZ's talking about Vaughn in a positive light. I don't think they've done a good job developing Andrew Vaughn. I think if Andrew Vaughn was drafted by the Dodgers, he would be a staple. They would have never needed to sign Freddie Freeman. I do believe that. I do. Andrew Vaughn has all the tools and, just not what we thought so far.
I still can't believe he leads the team in RBI with 31.
Well, I mean, Joe, they're 19 and 30. Like, there's a reason they're 19 and 30 because Andrew
But I thought Luis Robert would lead the team in RBI, but he doesn't.
Really good May, brutal April.
True. And Jake Berger has almost 85 less at bats, but he's only trailing them in RBI by 7, 8, 9.
He'll get up there. He'll get up there for sure. Andrew Vaughn will hit home runs because he's super powerful and super talented. So when he runs into one, it goes to Pluto.
I just realized this is the put on the board segment. We totally got off the rails.
Yeah,
I don't even know who you put on the board. No, you didn't.
I didn't give it yet. Michael Kopech is my put it on the board player of the week. That is the best pitching performance of any starter up to this point this season. He was flirting with a no hitter, and then he finally gave up.
Not perfect game.
Yeah, you're right. It was a perfect game. And, he gives up the hit. Okay, that's the one hit he gave up. He still ended up going 8 innings. I would have let him finish the 9th because, why not? But Joe Kelly came in and shut the door, and they got the win. But Michael Kopech.
No, Kendall Graveman.
You're right. It was Kendall Graveman, which we didn't mention him when talking about the bullpen at all either.
Yeah, he locked it down.
Yeah, very hit or miss with Graveman in a White Sox uniform. He's either Chris Sale in his prime or Reynaldo Lopez Jr. But as far as Michael Kopech, super elite stuff. Always knew he had this in him. Twins Ted replied to my tweet saying, "Vinny, it's against the freaking Royals." Dude, you mean the Royals that have Salvador Perez and Bobby Witt Jr. and, some other pretty good hitters in their lineup that can, if you make mistakes, they'll make you pay? There's a reason Major League Baseball players are Major League Baseball players. Everybody gets paid to play. Every single player gets paid to play. So you shut down a Major League team like that, it really doesn't matter. He did it to the Yankees last year. He did that against the Yankees last year, who have Judge and Stanton and LeMahieu and Donaldson and all these guys.
Yep.
So I don't want to hear it with whatever team it was against. Michael Kopech is an elite talent. Just another player they haven't developed well.
Absolutely. 8 innings, Vin, 1 hit ball, no walks, 10 strikeouts. I mean, I was there in person that day, Vin. I was sitting about 5 rows behind the dugout. And this guy looked like a different animal. I said it on Twitter. I took some videos of that one of his strikeouts. Just this guy, Vin, he looks like he caught lightning in a bottle. He looked like he just knew every single thing he was going to do. Yeah. And it went where he wanted to. His command was there. He was fired up. The crowd was fired up. Was it a sellout crowd on a Friday night? No, but I tell you what, the crowd that was there was into it. I am spoiled now forever to sit anywhere else at a baseball game.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? He looked super focused. Was my biggest takeaway. He was so focused. He wanted to show everyone that he's an elite player. And, we can't consider him an elite player yet, but we know he was an elite prospect and he has elite arm talent. Go out there and keep doing that, Michael. We know you can. You can make $300 million if you consistently put up starts like that. A
whip of 0.13.
Yeah, absolutely unreal. I think he has ace stuff, but he hasn't been an ace. We'll see if he's able to figure that out. But he's, what PZ says in the chat and what we talked about. Every now and then, with or without development, the talent will take over. Andrew Vaughn and Robert can run into one, and it'll go 1,000 miles. Kopech can have a game where he's laser focused and have 10 strikeouts over 8 innings with no earned runs on 1 hit, no walks. Those things will happen. Hopefully they're able to develop it into happening just to tad bit more frequently going forward.
No doubt, brother. I think we're all happy to see success from Michael Kopech because I was at his first start. And I was just talking to my wife about this the other day, and you said you were there too, Vin, right? It's Michael. It was Game of Thrones night.
Yep, his MLB debut.
And man, it feels like it was yesterday. And then I told her, I'm like, man, he pitched good, but then they took him out, and it was a rain delay or whatever. And then like 3 weeks later, he got tore his shoulder and got Tommy John.
Yeah. Alex DeBrincat threw out the first pitch.
Oh my God, you're right.
I remember that much too from the Hawks. Now he's on the Ottawa Senators. But yeah, Michael Kopech. That was a playoff game. The 62-100 White Sox had one playoff game in their regular season, and it was Michael Kopech's debut because people were into the rebuild. And that's why Jerry Reinsdorf is such a freaking idiot and Rick Hahn is so dumb, because you saw the support that the rebuild got. Whenever they called Yohan Moncada's MLB debut, we bought tickets and went that day. Eloy Jimenez's MLB debut, we bought tickets and we went that day.
I went to Cease's.
I went to Cease's too against Detroit.
No, really? Nice.
Yeah, by myself. I said, I'm going to see Dylan Cease's MLB debut. I support the rebuild. I gave it all. Couldn't see Robert's debut. It was during the COVID year when all of our cardboard cutouts saw it. But I was all in on the rebuild. Every game where they called someone up had the atmosphere of a playoff game, and the White Sox saw what this franchise, the revenue it can bring in if they're good, and they foobarred it by not taking it to the next level, and they should be ashamed of themselves. You were at the Cease game against Detroit?
Yeah.
I was there by myself watching that shit because I had to be there for Cease's debut. It was a midday game.
Yeah, it was a midday game. It was hot out. He pitched okay. It wasn't amazing. It was like 5 innings, I think, right?
Yep, exactly what you would expect from a
debut.
A debut, a kid who is part of a huge trade and there's expectation. And, not only was he was traded from the Cubs to the White Sox. I'm sure that added a little bit of something. Eloy's already up and has, he's on pace for a 30 home run season as a rookie. He did end up hitting 31. So it was so fun. I loved coming up with the prospects. And now that we're stuck in this middle, they're not good or bad. Like bad, they're bad, but they're not bad. At least the A's are going to become fun to watch over the next couple of years. They're going to start stockpiling prospects.
Yeah, the Vegas A's.
Yeah, Billy Beane is going to do what Billy Beane does. We've all seen Moneyball, and it'll be fun to watch. But for the White Sox, it's the farm system stinks. The team stinks. Outside of Luis Robert, Eloy when he's healthy, and a couple pitchers, and Jake Berger, the thing stinks. So.
Speaking of stinky, let's talk about the schedule the rest of the week. It's not that stinky, but it's stinky enough in this week's White Sox Weekly. Yeah, it's not all fully out from all of our opponents, especially Detroit this weekend, but we've got 2 more against the Guardians. Of course, we lost today 3-0. Bullpen put up a really good performance, and the offense just crapped the bed. But tomorrow, Vin, our buddy Dylan Cease going against Logan Allen in Cleveland. It is another weird start time. It's a 5:10 start Central Time. Good matchup. Surprisingly low ERA for Logan Allen. He's got a lower ERA than Dylan Cease. He's got a 3.04 ERA, but he's only 1-1. The end of the series on Wednesday, the aforementioned Michael Kopech going off of his dominant performance against the Royals, following it up with a day game on Wednesday against the Guardians. Excuse me. Yeah, I couldn't shake that yawn. Michael Kopech going up against Cal Quantrill. Both similar ERAs, but Michael Kopech is a strikeout pitcher. Cal Quantrill really isn't as much. He's just hit about half as many strikeouts, 29 to Kopech's 51. And then we get 3 more, Vin. We're going to Detroit to take on the Detroit Tigers. And the rotation, the matchups are not officially out. So we don't exactly know what's going to happen with the rotation, especially with Clevenger's situation. Might get some more call-ups. You might get some shuffling. More to come. But we have to sweep the Tigers as far as I'm concerned, Vin. They're not a good baseball team. They are pretty much the same record as us for the most. Well, they haven't played as many games as us, which is strange. Wait, they have? No, they haven't.
No, they haven't. They played a couple less. I was looking earlier.
Yeah. So they're 20 and 24, and we're 19 and 30. So that's strange to even think about. But they're not a good baseball team. The Sox should pounce on them. And I'm trying to decide if I want to sign up for Bally's sports in the area to stream. Why did my computer just got really blurry all of a sudden? Let's fix that. But Bally's is the streaming service because blackouts, the Tigers are blacked out for me, Vin. So I'm trying to decide what I want to do.
Yeah, that's really annoying. The Tigers are blacked out, and can't you? Yeah, no, that's tough. That sucks. It's like when the Devils play the Hawks. I have to watch it on NBC Sports Chicago, which means I almost always have to be near a cable box when they play each other in Newark, and then when they're at Chicago, I normally just go to the game. But that sucks. I hate blackouts. But every commissioner that allows blackouts is so dumb. The MLS thrives without having blackouts. Yeah, it's a tough week because I think Detroit is similar to the White Sox, where like they're not brutal, they're not terrible. Like they're bad, but they're not like the A's or the Royals. I don't think. They were in second place in the division for a spell, if they're not
Yeah.
still. But that's not saying much. The Central sucks. But it'll be Giolito and Lynn in some order to start that series against Detroit. One thing I didn't mention in Pedro's pen that I meant to was they extended Kopech an extra day. They gave him an extra day's rest. And then he came out and had that 8th inning extravaganza.
Yeah,
And,
that's true.
I wonder if something like that will carry over or if, it'll prove to be a detriment to not do it again. We'll see. I hope I want to see him start against Cleveland. I want to see what he can do on the 5 days. Because that's what a starting pitcher should be able to do. But, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's a tough matchup. The Guardians at home aren't easy. I know they took 2 out of 3 of them last week. Well, if you take 1 out of 3 from them this week, that means you went 500 between both places. I would sign up for that, but I would love to see them win the next 2. There's no reason they can't. You got Cease and Kopech, who are, 2 guys you should trust in this situation. And the first time around when they played the Guardians, Jose Ramirez wasn't there. Was it bereavement? I think it might have been bereavement that he was missing. So, we see him make an impact. He had a huge series against the New York Mets, even though they were swept. So we'll see what happens. But it is a tough week. Hopefully we come in the next show with similar vibes that we came into this one.
I'm all in for that, man. I'd love to have another, good vibe show instead of, half of the show talking about Zelda.
Yeah. I mean, I always want to talk about Zelda, even if the White Sox were in first place by 10 games. But
I actually got out of the tutorial spot, so I'm very impressed with myself.
Hell yeah, it's hard. I'm still kind of working on it a little bit. I don't play it as much as I want to right now, but when I leave for Wisconsin and I sit in the hot tub every night, I'm going to be chipping away at it. So that's obviously good. I do think, you got to start stacking series, as PZ points out. If that's the key to getting back in it. You can't worry about win streaks. Like, it'd be nice to win 10 in a row. I'd sign up for it right now. I would pay $20 for them to win 10 in a row. But, then you lose one, though, and then you lose 4 in a row following that. Sometimes coming down from a big win streak like that is hard.
Yeah.
So, we'll see what happens, but it'd be nice to get 2 series wins here.
I'm aligned, man. Let's do it. We can still do it. And let's try to get our Nostradamus on in this week's Pick to Click. So I'll make it boring, Vin. I won last week with Jake Berger. I know he's not as good on the road, but I'm going to keep the iron hot. I'm going to ride with Jake Berger for another week. I thought about switching things up. but I'm going to go with it. I'm just going to follow my gut. So I'm going to ride Jake Berger into the sunset for hopefully another victory. As we were sitting here, I texted our buddy Zim to see if he had a pick for the week. And he did. Zim is going to go with Joe Kelly for his pick to click.
I like it. All right,
He's been dominating.
Yeah, he's been great. You took Berger, so I'm going to try and not that I think Zim has a 0% chance to win. I do think he has a chance to win. Joe Kelly's been outstanding, and that's a really good pick. But, let's see if we could get a battle of bats. I'm going to take Luis Robert and go head-to-head with you on that. The two best hitters on the White Sox. Could be a nice little offensive battle. And then if Zim takes us both down with some outstanding pitching from Joe Kelly, that would actually be hilarious.
Yeah, if Joe Kelly has another lights out week, then he just gets it done. Speaking of Joe Kelly, I don't know if you saw this, Vin. He has a book out.
He does?
Yeah, I sent it to our South Burbs Hitmen chat, but Joe Kelly has a new book out. The book itself is called A Damn Near Perfect Game, which is ironic because the game I was at when I found out about the book was Michael Kopech's Damn Near Perfect Game. You can get it on Amazon or anywhere you get books. This is the description on Amazon. Baseball's most outspoken fireballer brings the high heat, calling out the hacks, cheats, and ridiculous rules that have tarnished the game of baseball, and pitches A+ stuff on how to make baseball pure, fun, and damn near perfect. I need to read this book.
I would also very much like to read it. I missed that in the chat today. Obviously a crazy day, but I will go back.
No, I think it was a couple days ago.
I will go back and I want to get this book. That sounds outstanding. So, I like Joe Kelly's personality. Obviously, I talk about my love for, the other teams I watch besides the White Sox often, and the Boston Red Sox are one of them. Well, I enjoyed Joe Kelly when he was there. I enjoyed him just as much when he was on the Dodgers. And I'm not a Dodgers guy by any means, but, when you win a World Series as a reliever with two different teams, as a prominent reliever in two different teams, I think that speaks volumes to your importance. A guy like Alex Cora and a guy like Dave Roberts, who were both on the 2004 championship Red Sox team. Those two guys believe that Joe Kelly, was a huge piece to their World Series winning bullpen. That's how you know a guy's awesome. So hopefully that sticks.
And yes, PZ, I'm old enough to when Amazon started, I used to buy books. I tell the story all the time, but it's back when the prequel movies came out for Star Wars. Vinnie will get a kick out of this. They released like the novelizations like they do for everything, Vin. And for Phantom Menace novelization, they had like a million different covers with like the different character faces, So Amazon, how they have that one-click buy option? Well, anyway, I was a little kid. I couldn't tell you how old I was at the time. But I went on Amazon and I one-click bought like 6 copies of the Phantom Menace with Darth Maul's face on it. And I got in trouble. And luckily my mom canceled before they shipped. But that's what makes me think about Amazon as a bookseller. Don't ask me why.
Did she at least cancel like 5 instead of all 6? Like, did you get at least 1?
I'm sure I did. I wish I would have kept it. I don't think I have it anymore.
That's funny. It's a good story.
Thank you. I'm glad you thought so. And then real quick, I just uploaded the image of Joe Kelly's book for everyone to take a look. So, of course, you had to have that face on the cover. So, the pouty face.
I love it. He's doing it at Correa. I'm almost positive.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. That's awesome. Truly awesome.
Well, Vinny, you wrote a great article about the aforementioned Mike Clevenger. And let's dive a little deeper in this week's Guaranteed Take. Well, Vinny, why don't you take it away with Mike Clevenger?
Yeah, I wrote an article. People got mad at me. start shitting on Southside Showdown, which I put a lot of hard work and effort into Southside Showdown and making
Yes,
sure
you do.
that site always has updated information and, opinion. There's a lot of opinion, and people don't always agree with opinion. Well, I'm of the opinion that if the White Sox continue to lose and Mike Clevenger continues to play well, they should trade him and try and get, something. Get any warm body that they can try and develop for Mike Clevenger from a contender. If the Atlanta Braves want to add a pitcher, if the, New York Yankees want to add a pitcher, a number 4 or number 5 for their rotation for the postseason run, I don't see any issue with that. And, people, they don't read the article. They take it as I'm saying Clevenger has been horrible. I do think Clevenger is going to regress, but I think you could trade him before that happens. And, even if he doesn't regress, then you really could trade him before that happens. And so, I talked about it. I meant it. I mean it. I think that's a serious thing. There are people, dying on the I'm going to defend Mike Clevenger hill, is weird to me. People who are like oddly obsessed with Mike Clevenger is just, truly odd. But, it is what it is. People get mad. It also did numbers. So thank you. Who's really laughing in the end? Me. But,
That's right.
Clevenger, he's been a weird era of White Sox baseball surrounded by the Mike Clevenger story.
I can't argue with that, Vin. If the Sox can trade him when his value's up, I mean, it certainly could be a lot lower than it is right now. I'm with you. And Mike Clevenger, I think we all know he's not the long-term answer on the South Side. He's here to fill a warm body. I hate saying it that way, but he really is. Somehow, the magical Apple device that you talk to, the name of the woman just popped up on my screen for some reason because something I said must have sounded like her name, but you can spell it out, Siri. But anyway, getting back into Joe Kelly, not the other name. Sorry, I'm twitching.
Clevenger. I know what you meant.
Yeah. Mike Clevenger. Joe Kelly we're keeping, especially the way he's pitching right now. But Mike Clevenger, I could do without him. I don't care. I mean, he's fine. He's indifferent. I'm indifferent to him. His story at the end of the day, I don't even care anymore. It's just about his performance. Strictly get what you can while you can. Vinny, I agree with you.
Yeah, he's probably a shitbag off the ice, which kind of rubs me the wrong way. Him and Trevor Bauer.
I get those vibes too. Well, Trevor Bauer's getting destroyed in the other league too.
Yeah,
right now.
he got sent down to their version of AAA. So, when you suck in that league, like, what do you think is going to happen to him in this league? I didn't get in many arguments. I don't reply to anyone, but they came at me for not wanting Trevor Bauer on the White Sox. And like, he would have been so awful on the White Sox. He'd probably be DFA'd by now and he'd be running his mouth, talking trash about the organization. If that were to happen, it's just a disaster avoided. But I don't know. I would trade Clevenger if there's any value whatsoever. If anybody's willing to give you an asset, if it's their number 9 prospect or something, take it. Because another team's number 9 prospect might be the White Sox number 5 prospect without how their farm system is right now. Like, imagine if someone gave you their version of Lenin Sosa for Clevenger. I would take that and take that chance. Because Clevenger was signed to replace Cueto on what was supposed to be a contending team. They're not a contending team. He's pitched okay, and you never know. So, that was just my take on it. People get irrationally mad, but I honestly find joy in it.
That's right. And I don't think you said anything wrong, and I agree. For those of you with us in the chat, curious your thoughts on trading Clevenger if you got him. Yeah, I keep you on the last 2 weeks, and it's contagious. I can't shake it. So
it's a tired time.
It's a tired time. Well, the White Sox game was boring today, but I didn't watch it. So I got the recap, and I checked out the stats before the show started. Those early starts are weird, Vin.
Yeah, no doubt. Cleveland's always the last ones to adjust to the summer schedule where they start playing at 7 local time instead of 6 local time. So 6 local time there is, it's 5 here.
Yeah.
So a game starting at 5 is odd.
I'm on Eastern time zone, but I forget Cleveland is also on Eastern time zone. So
Yeah, this American League Central. Is it the only? No. How many teams are in the East and the NL Central? Is
so
it just
you got the
Pirates?
Tigers and the Guardians. Oh, the NL Central.
I think just the Pirates,
No,
right?
I believe the Cincinnati Reds are.
You're right. You're right. You're right. The Cincinnati Reds. Forgot about them for sure. So 2 out of 5 in both in the Eastern time zone. So that's kind of weird. But do you know? Fun fact, and then we could finally, call it or move on to our next portion. If you divided the MLB in half by Eastern Conference and Western Conference, like the NHL and NBA,
Yeah,
instead of doing AL and NL, the Cubs and the White Sox would still be on opposite sides.
no kidding.
They split the league in half. The White Sox would be in the Eastern Conference, and the Cubs would be in the Western Conference.
Wow,
I always thought that was pretty funny.
that is funny. That's wild. I can't believe that, but it's true.
Yep.
We had some interesting baseball conversation tonight, Vin. It's always fun talking ball with you. But how have you read any more of Heir to the Empire?
Getting along a little slower than I should be. It's coming with me to Wisconsin, so
There you go.
still early in the book, but I'm very much interested in what's his name, Thrawn. Yeah, this is the Thrawn trilogy, obviously, and Heir to the Empire is off to a good start. Though I'm not up to the heroes yet. I'm through the opening of the bad guys, so next throughout the rest of this week, I'll hopefully come into the heroes and learn a little bit about what's going on with them at this stage in the game.
Well, did you hear the leak about Dave Filoni's movie that's coming out?
Yes, very cool. Everybody's gonna need to check this stuff out. Like,
Yeah, apparently it's called Heir to the Empire. Obviously, it will draw inspiration from it because it can't
Yeah.
be, given the story, it's got some players that aren't in it anymore. But if they keep the meat and bones of the story, that'd be pretty sweet.
yeah, absolutely.
And then have you got any farther in Zelda?
Yes. I'm still working through some of the early stages of the game, but I have advanced a little bit. I'm working on another shrine. I'm actually right now, my Switch is right over there, and it's standing in front of my next shrine that I have to complete. Link is standing right in front of his next shrine, so that'll be coming along for the ride as well. So there's
There you
only the Florida Panthers just took a 3-0 series lead in the Eastern Conference Finals. I was had it on
Wow.
during this show. And then the Western Conference Finals is a 2-0 series lead for Vegas. If those series, when those series end, we'll have the Stanley Cup final, and then it'll just be baseball. And I love baseball. It's my, it's right there with hockey for my number one, and football. But until training camp starts for football, I'll be a one sport athlete until, those other sports start up again. I'm gonna have to be plenty of reading and plenty of video gaming when there's not baseball to be watched or covered. So
There you
I'm
go,
excited
man.
for that little bit of break. I go hard from September to June, and I give it my all. This job, I put everything I have into it. But over the summer, I'm going to be putting my all into it while the White Sox are playing, and from the morning till 5 p.m. Then I'm going to, take care of some of the entertainment stuff at night for a couple months.
Dude, I love it, man. It's weird. Like, I haven't had a chance to play a ton, but I've played enough to the point that I can't stop I can't stop thinking about building random little machines and how I can solve things. And I went down to the depths for one thing, and I'm sure you got to that part where you kind of got to go underground and snoop around. Maybe not.
I might have not. I'm not very far at all. Joey Parisi would know what you're talking about, though. That dude.
I'm not very far at all either. I'm just kind of stuck at the point where I just keep going to shrines, but I'm trying to do something else, and I see a shrine in the distance. I'm like, oh crap, I got to go do that.
Yeah, 100%. You mark it?
No, I don't even mark it. I just see it in the distance, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm coming for you.
100%. I was cooking up some peppers so I can go in the cold. But that's not the shrine I need to do first. I needed to go find the other one first. So now I'm about to do that one, and then I'm going to go back to the cold. I have a plate of peppers that I can eat that'll make me be able to sustain cold weather for 12 minutes. I think it is. So that
Wait, you're
should.
still in the tutorial, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I'm still early. Yeah.
You don't have the paraglider or anything.
No, I have not. I have the one that you could build and then morph stuff together. I'm about to get another ability with this shine. I told you I've I've played more than I should. I'm not far enough along from where I should be based on the amount of
That
time
was
I
me.
played because it's so hard. But
That
I
was
think
me,
once
yeah.
you play more, you start to move along quicker because you have your abilities, you understand it a little bit better. So I'm excited to keep rolling though. It's hard as hell.
Once you get back,
so
yeah,
hard.
once you get back, and then you kind of get into the main part of the world, and it feels better. I was with
100%.
you. I struggled because I had to do the coal one last, and I messed up because then it's like really hard to get back all the way to the other side. Then you got to build the boat again, and you'll get there. But my God, but it's addicting.
100%.
And music gets stuck in my head.
Yeah, I tried to make the noise from when you find something new.
How about that TikTok I sent you from?
Absolute
was that?
comedy. It was Taco
Was-
Bell. Yeah.
Oh
Right?
no,
Wasn't-
that one too. That one was great, but I'm talking about the hockey one.
Oh yeah, the Jets, the Winnipeg
Yeah.
Jets. So funny.
I don't even
So
know how they did that. It looked like it was real.
It
in the
did
game.
look like it was real. That's when you're a multi-million-dollar NHL team that has an outstanding graphics team.
Yeah, that's really outstanding stuff. But gotta love that, man. But I don't know. I can't stop thinking about Zelda. And I'm not even a huge Zelda fan, but I am now.
Yeah, I love it. It's fun. I can't wait to play.
Are you getting to enjoy yourself a little bit when you go up to Wisconsin? Are you having
Yeah.
some
Oh,
chill
yeah.
time?
100%
When do you leave?
tomorrow
Oh, nice. And how long are you up there?
through Sunday morning.
Oh, that a boy.
Yeah. So I will be playing, enjoying, reading. I can't wait.
Dude, man, I'm jealous.
Yeah. It's going to be fun.
And now you said Taco Bell, and I just want Taco Bell.
I always want Taco Bell.
Cheesy Gordita Crunch and a Baja Blast.
Every minute of every day. I want it.
I don't think there's a better item on the menu than a Cheesy Gordita Crunch. if I'm being honest.
If the volcano menu returns over the summer like it's supposed to, I would say that.
No. What you do, Vin, is if the volcano menu comes back, you get a Cheesy Gordita Crunch, but you put volcano sauce on it.
That's what I like to hear, Joe Mandel. It speaks to my soul in ways you don't understand.
That's right.
Comedy.
And this is a guy that I have Taco Bell maybe twice a year, but like I think about it way more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have it as much as I used to either, but I always want to be having it.
But it is almost that time of year, Vinny, where Baja Blast is available in the store.
Yep, in the cans. Yep.
Which
and
is
bottles, right?
both.
Yeah.
I wish it was a year-round thing, but then again, that would lose Taco Bell's luster.
Yep. Absolutely.
Love me some Baja.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
But I don't know if there's a better note to wrap the show on than talking about Baja Blast and Taco Bell. I mean, I think we've achieved the pinnacle of podcasting right now. So
I think we're elite, personally.
yeah, I'm going to celebrate and get a cheesy gordita crunch.
Oh my God, don't threaten me with a good time.
No, I can't. I would.
Yep.
Because everyone's probably getting close to sleeping, but that's all right, nonetheless. But Vinny, let's hop into shout outs before we go, and I'll let you lead things off, my friend.
100%. My girlfriend Katie, my number one favorite person in the world. Helps me through everything, helps give me everything I need, supports me through everything, believes in me, trusts me. I love you very much. You're my shout out this week. Just you and only you.
Are you staring in her eyes as you say that?
No, she's not in the room.
Oh. 'Cause I know sometimes she's behind the camera.
Oh, yeah. There have been times where I'm like, my shout out is you.
You know she's going to come bursting through the door now because she's
It's
watching
locked.
in the other room.
I make
It's
sure that thing
locked?
is. Oh, I make sure that when I'm doing shows, locked.
I know, Katie. You check to make sure he's not lying. I think it's open.
That'd be funny. I don't. It might be. I don't care. I would love for her to come on the show. I know the From the 108 guys, they have like one episode a year where all their wives come on and just shit talk the three of them. I would love to do that. I would love to have an episode where like Catherine and Katie and Brittany come on the show and just tell everyone everything they hate about Vinny, Joe, and Zim. That would just be A+ TV.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm not blowing smoke. My wife and I, we wouldn't rag on each other at all. We would just tell funny stories about each other.
That's perfectly fair.
And then I gotta put Foster's comment because it's fantastic. Tacos are a no-lose proposition. I was laying here listening for 50 minutes, too lazy to make comments until I had to pee. Foster, that's the greatest comment I've seen in a long time. So thank you for that.
Foster is an S-tier barfly. I can't
He
wait
is.
till the next meetup where the hosts and the barflies get together. I'm
I
buying
gotta make
Foster
that
a
one.
drink.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I didn't know Foster was at the last one until I was leaving. I'm pretty
He
sure.
was?
Yeah. He was at the one at the game thing in Rosemont.
I also notified Foster this week that he got hacked on Twitter, and he thanked me in a post to Greg Gabriel, and I was like, "All right, man, thanks. I got you, buddy."
That's funny. Happy to see
I got-
Aldo back with Greg Gabriel today too. Happy to see
I
Aldo back
did
on a
not-
program. That's what we like to see.
That's our collective shout out for the show is to Aldo Gandia, recovering from a mini stroke, and we wish him the best in his recovery and everything. Sounds like he's feeling better enough to hop on the show. I didn't even know that. That's great. So gotta love Aldo. We love you, buddy.
Absolutely. Yes, I do know Foster has his own show. I want to come on. I'm trying to there was a date he gave me, and I've been seeing if I could, because then I think he got hacked. The 25th, which is, let me see, 25th is Thursday. I might be able to make that work. I'll be in Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, how are you doing bar down from there?
Oh, well, I have. I'm bringing my equipment. It's coming with me.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure out cross.
Yeah,
down.
I did. Yeah, for sure. And I did I probably did 8, 9, or 10 Devils pregame shows from Wisconsin from the regular season to playoffs. So we will see. That's oh my god.
I don't even know what that is.
Cumberland Chapels is a wake and mortician home.
Jesus Christ. Oh, God. The show's officially gone off the rails. That's all right. It's the end, so we can do that. But
we're putting the White Sox at Cumberland Chapels pretty soon, I bet. So
we'll see. But no, my shout-outs are the same as usual. I'd shout out my beautiful wife, Catherine. I love you very much. My beautiful daughter, Audrey, running all over the place now, Vin. We got her this water table in the backyard and a slide and a swing, and she just takes off. And she's the only kid that kids love water tables. It's you pour this water in the top and it comes out. It's like it's raining. But most kids, they take the scoop and they, splash it in there. They splash it on the top. Like 8 out of 10 times, she'll take the big bucket of water and she'll just just splash it on herself because she likes to get splashed. So I love it. I love Audrey and Catherine very much. My Great Dane Maverick, per usual. Love him very much. He's a nuthead, but I love him. And shout out to my whole family. Shout out to my mom. Love you. Shout out to you, Vin. Always love you, buddy. Appreciate you doing the show with me every week.
Right back at you.
Thank you, buddy. And same thing. Shout out to our buddy Steven Zimmerman, who couldn't be on tonight. Plenty of stuff going on, but we love him too.
Absolutely.
And everyone in the chat: Foster, PZ, Travis was in the chat. Who else we got? Vinny's mom.
Good old Lise.
Donnie Brasco.
Hey.
So shout out everyone for hanging out tonight. We appreciate you hanging out with us. It's been fun talking ball and a little bit of everything per usual. Let's win 2 more series, Vin. I think that's a good way to end the show. What do you say?
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Always tuning in. We will see you on Bar Down Talking Hockey Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central Time.
Sounds like a plan. And as always, let's go White Sox.